going down, YouTube? NindoNight here. Today I'm gonna give you my 10, well, not really 10, really just any mini I feel is most important, but the most life-saving, journey-saving dread tips. Let's get it. Before we get started, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, I do respond below, or I'll respond on my next dread video. All right, first starter lock tip. Do your research. If you want your hair exactly, see, you probably don't even know it. Let me stop there. You probably don't even know exactly how you want your hair. You probably didn't even know it was multiple ways to get dreads. You probably heard of a few styles, but you didn't know how drastically those few styles change the outcome of your hairstyle, from if you want it thicker, smaller, tighter, fatter, more loose and flowinger, more fuller. Like, you don't think about these things in your first when you just want dreads. You just want dreads and you want to look like dreads. But in the long run, once you start paying more attention and concern and care for your dreads, you're going to look at specific things and be like, I wish I had it like this, or why didn't I start it like this? Trust me, I done went through 3 dread processes. I know exactly what I'm talking about. That's why I'm here now, because I got my dreads exactly how I wanted it after countless research. But I'm going to save you on that research right now. Dread tip 2, pick the right starting process. Like, if you want your dreads to be real crispy, real nice, real neat, something like that, then there's a process for that. If you want your dreads to be, low maintenance, you don't really want to do nothing at all, basically free form, there's a process for that. People think when they get dreads, a lot of people have the misconception that dreads don't look or is not a presentable style because of the dreads they had, because they knew so little about how to maintenance it or what kind of dreads they were actually giving themselves upon their crown. Because you're gonna care about how your dreads turn out later on. Right now, it don't matter that much to you, but when I say the right starting process, I mean, like, if you want your dreads to be low maintenance or high maintenance, like how much work you want to put in your dreads, Like, do you want to be constantly doing something to it, manipulating it? Do you want to just basically damn near freeform it? So you got options. A lot of people don't know all the options. So yeah, that's why you want to make sure you pick the right starting process for your dreads that will help you out in the long run, so you can take care of them the best as possible. Or, neglect them and let them do their own thing. But that's all up to you, and that's why these processes matter. Dread tip 3, how thick you want your locks, man. You always say you want dreads, but then when everybody start getting dreads, they mess up because they get their locks too big, or most of the time too small. They don't know what size their dreads is going to be because they're not used to the dreads on their head, so they don't know how their head is actually going to react to it and lock together. But 9 times out of 10, people want their dreads a little thicker than what they turn out to get. So to save you from that, make sure you know what size dreads you want. If you want small ones, make sure you get smaller parts. If you want bigger ones, make sure you get bigger parts. Also, look at your hair density too, your hair type and your hair, if it's fine or if it's coarse, so you know how thick. Because if your hair is thicker, you can pull a lot of small dreads out of there and still have a whole volume of dreads. But if your hair is more fine, I'm kind of in between. If your hair is more fine, you might have to make bigger parts to get thicker. But some people don't like the scalp showing, some people like the crispiness. But it's up to you. You got to notice ahead of time. You probably don't know yet, but at least you want to give yourself the open availability or option to do the choice you want in the long run. So set yourself up for the best foundation to have the dreads you want, so you don't have to neglect anything or have regrets. Know what I'm saying? All right, which brings me to tip number 4. Parting matters. They tell you it don't, or some say they don't care about their parts, but let me tell you right now, parting does matter. My old dreads I had, like, the thing with my dreads, my stylist would do them a lot. Like, she would do them and have them crispy, but from previous things that have happened with my hair, my partings were all weird in different, areas. So it just looked like a weird parting, which don't bother a lot of people, or it couldn't be a big deal. But also I had stylist going in my hair with different rotations. Like I had a lot of little things that on the outside looking in, you wouldn't know was messed up, but I knew, and it bothered me the whole way. That's why I had to get them doubts out my head, man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, parting does matter. Now the number of locks you have do not matter. I thought it did because I started off trying to get these ones with, I wanted 18 on each side or 16 on each side. I wanted 32 to 36. Basically, I was trying to balance it out evenly on each side of my head. I wanted, whenever I get 2 strands, it broke down evenly from 36 to 18 or 16 or whatever number I was going for. And I wanted to, if I had braids, it's still grouped up in 3s. So I was really on it. That's why I had 18 on each side. But down the line, I ended up seeing one dread over here that was, the parting was a little bigger than the other ones, and it made the dreads from the back look off-sided a little, and I ain't like that. So I split the bigger part and made an even amount of dreads on this side than this side. I wanted my locks thicker. I got them thicker, but I realized I didn't like the uneven parting. Like my partings are straight, but I didn't like how one dread on this side would be thicker than the one on this side, because eventually when I have it down, I didn't want that. I wanted it symmetrically balanced. So what I noticed is, forget the number of dreads, because everybody's head shape is different. So on my size head in the back, I wanted it to look even still. So I ended up adding another dread, which made it uneven numbers. So now I'm like 18 on one side, 19 on another, but it looks symmetrical to my head shape and how it's going to come down evenly. So I did that specifically for me. So I learned the dread amount that you have don't really matter as long as you like the parting and the spacing you have with your dreads, so you know how you're gonna rock them. All right, tip number 5, keep your locks moisturized. Listen, my last set of dreads, I ain't give no damn about how much I moisturize my hair. Didn't know my 4A type hair, it needs moisture, not all the time, but I was never doing it. Like I never cared about moisturizing. I assumed my hair would take that because as much as I train, as much as I work out and all of that, so I thought my sweat and the heat from my head would take place of that. It does every now and then, but moisturizing is very important because dryness in your hair is a direct lineage to breakage. So yeah, like it's directly leads to breakage. So you don't want your hair to be too dry ever. Normally with that, I say for my hair type, it doesn't really get really oily or really dry fast, but I do mines once a day or once every other day, depending on how my hair feels. So I go off how my hair texture feels. Like I feel my hair, and right now it looks pretty moisturized, as you can see. I did moisturize it already. And usually I moisturize it, put a cap on. I'll get into what I use. But yeah, moisturize it either once a day, either in the morning or at night before you go to sleep, then put the cap on, or once every other day, either morning or at night, depending on what you feel best for your schedule. Because you want it to be, you don't want it to get too dry, especially if you live in areas where you get cold or whatever. You don't want that. You don't want breakage. You want the healthiest starter locks you can get possible. I'm telling you, man. Now the moisturizer and tools you'll use will change over time, so that just goes with experience. You'll figure out what works better for your hair and stuff like that. But I'll just show you what I use. But I just take some, I don't even know if it's the best brand, but I just take some rose water, you know, just some good old rose water, and then I take any type of vitamin E hair oil. I didn't got no vitamin E hair oil with me right now because I use it all in a mix with my rose water. But yeah, this is just some random stuff, but it's not vitamin E, but basically some good pure vitamin E oil. Take the rose water and you just put it in a little, like a little spray bottle. You know, oil and water don't really mix, so you just put them two together. You see the oil sitting on top of the water. Put it in there, rose water with the vitamin E. Shake it up. Just shake it up and, you know, spray it either in the morning or at night. And if you're doing it at night, put the cap over your head, go to sleep on it, let the oil sink in, let it do what it do. You'll be straight in the morning. You'll be straight the whole day tomorrow. So yeah, but you definitely want to make sure you get that moisturized so your hair never feels too dry. And depending on your hair, you can tell when it gets too dry. Just look at it, and if it feels a little too brittle, then that's when you know it's time to do it. But me, I just keep on doing it like every every other day, or like I said, once at night or something. But you do what's preferred for your hair. You don't want to make it too oily all the time because it's not going to give it room to grow. But yeah, figure out for your process and get into your routine. This brings me to tip number 6, maintaining frizz. I know you hate that frizziness that comes with these starter locks. Shit, I hate the frizz. But for me, I done figured out ways around that. It's tons of ways you can maintain frizz depending on your starter lock style. Like if you did braids interlocking, those are easy to maintain frizz usually because the lock pattern is so tight and stuck to the root. Those are the best ways to maintain without really doing anything for real. Two-strand twists and comb curls, that's where you got to maintain it. Two-strand twists, people usually like the two-strand twist the frizz better than the comb coil frizz. Me, I started with comb coils. So with that, usually the roots get frizzy, after a first wash or if you just sweat it out too much. So palm rolling could be a big pain in the butt, for real. So with that though, usually I just crochet. That's all. Just take a little crochet. There's different ones and stuff, different kinds. I just take one or the two. Simple shit. Just take a crochet hook, needle, and then wherever you see the frizz or wherever you want it to stay at, pretty much, you just go through it, pull in the hairs that need to stay, and then it'll form its own little parting and everything. That's what I did with all these. So my frizz is not there right now because you see the growth, but it's stuck with the dread. So that's my main way of maintaining frizz. As long as I keep it stuck with the dread, it's going to eventually form and grow with the dread. So right now I'm only 3 weeks in. It's not even been a month yet. I haven't even got my first retwist yet, but I'm keeping it together. I already done washed it before too, and it was really frizzy after that. So this was the best I could maintain it, but it looks a lot less frizzier than what it was before. So I recommend getting you one of these. I put up a video on how I did the quick little crochet with one of my dreads. But yeah, definitely good to maintain frizz when you got any type of dread style, but two-strand twists and comb coils, definitely. See this one right here? Alright, just wanna go through it, pull the hairs from the opposite side in. Twist it, do it on both. See. Just so it can stay closer together. I'm not pulling through real hard, I'm just coasting, grabbing some, pulling it through slowly, not breaking. Then switch, since I'm going from bottom, I'm going this side, just turn it this way. So you can see little hooks that are this way to this way, Wrap up around the hair pretty well. You know how much I care about my anime bangs. And voila. Now I got dreads that stuck through. Bow. All right, number 7 is stick to the stylist. The same stylist, or if you're gonna switch stylists, stick to the same stylists that rotate your hair in the same direction, because that's the main thing people say about going to a different stylist. They do different styles, and you don't want one that you go into do a whole completely different dread process, locking process than you usually go to get, because now you got too much going on in your hair, which is going to reduce the lockage and probably cause breakage because all the tension, and it's too much. Basically, you see where I'm going with this? You want to stick to a constant routine. So get your constant routine on. So if you got one going clockwise, stay to that stylist, or if you have to find another one, make sure you already know they go clockwise too. Make sure, for one, I would say stay with one stylist the whole way up until your dreads are matured. And then after they matured, you can go to different palm roll stylists, or depending on how you get your dreads done. But you want to go to stylists that does the same process as your dreads need to get locked or been getting. You don't want to switch that process up, because when you switch it up, that's when you start to see deformities and different sizes and lumps in your dreads, which if you're cool with that, then that's okay. You can do that because that's exactly what you're going for. But if not, that's how you catch yourself early on. Survival tip number 8. If you're going to wash your hair and you want it to keep the parts still neat, shower with a cap on, at least in the early stage. Actually, it doesn't matter. Shower with a cap on regardless, because early stages or not, whenever I've had my dread twisted and I notice I put a cap on, it has always saved the integrity of my parts. I don't know why it does. Well, I do know why, but it don't matter what process, if it's matured or not, but especially in the early starter process and you want to keep your dreads looking somewhat neat and you can't help but to shower, just get you a little, I don't know, nylon or whatever they say the fabric is, but you can tell the fabric through this. Just get you one of them little caps, you know what I'm saying? Get you one of them little caps, shower, and don't, do this all hard everywhere and just let it do what it wants. You just got to make sure you get through the parts and the roots and keep your scalp clean. As long as you got the scalp clean, the roots gonna grow, but don't go too hard. Just, maintain it. What they say, rub around the creases and the parts and the streaks so you know where it's at. Keep it clean. And then, you still have the integrity and have your dreads still there and stuff. And look, you just saved a whole nother relatch, retwisting process that you gotta pay 60 and up above for. And that's a hassle. Or if you don't want to shower or you don't feel comfortable showering, they have ways around it. Like when I first started getting my locks done, my loctician, she would spray this stuff in my head. It's like a moisture for it. Like it'll help you skip showers. It's like a on-the-go cleanse, and it helps a lot. It actually helps the itch and all of that. So when you clean your hair, that helps the itch a lot. So, and I'll show you what I use. You'll figure out your own process, but this right here helps a lot. Moisture cleanse come in handy. From what it says on here, it thoroughly cleanses without water, stops itch, moisturizes hair and scalp, cleanses scalp and hair between shampoos, and with peppermint and green tea. So yeah, you smell good on the way too. So it's all there, man. It's all there. Just that's what I use if I don't want to feel like showering right now. But if not, put on the cap, man. Put on the cap. All right, tip number 9. Get into a routine maintenance. I'm telling you, once you get this, you'll figure it out on your own what your hair needs and not. But once you pay attention, stick to that maintenance. You wake up every morning, you put the, spritz your hair or put some oil in your hair, going about your day. Put your cap on at night, or if you spritz your hair at night, and put the cap on. Every few days, if it gets too messy after you done wash it, crochet it if you need to, or let it do its thing. But you don't want to do nothing too consistently, like too much. Like you don't want to put it on more times you need to within a day, too little. But you want to have a routine, because your dread is going to get used to it, just like it gets used to the curl pattern you do, how you keeping the locks together. Whatever you do with your hair, it's going to get used to that, and it's going to stick to going that route. So you want to adjust your hair and get it used to, warm it up to your routine and stay on that. And that will save you in the long run, because naturally you'll just be keeping up with your hair and making sure it stays as healthy as possible, like second nature in the back of your head, because you already got it programmed. Like going to the gym. So if you go to the gym, it shows you have dedication and you have some type of discipline, and you'll be able to do a routine too. So it just takes time, but you'll figure it out. And once you do, you'll be better off. Trust you. You'll be better off. Trust me. You need a routine. I'm telling you. Which leads to tip number 10, discipline, and just trust the process, man. Just trust the process. I'm telling you, with dreads, it's a whole journey. You feel me? People get into it not understanding they want it long, but it's so much that comes with it. You grow, your hair grows, you become a whole new person. Your dreads change along the way as you change. It's a whole journey. You have to wait it out. I ain't gonna say it's so slow, but it's slow compared to where you want your dreads to be ASAP from when you first get it done. So you have to love your dreads the whole step of the way, because if you don't have insecurities, you're gonna want to cut them. You're not gonna go through the whole journey. You're not gonna even make it to reach to see the full blossom of your locks from when they drop, hang, and they're all over your face. However you want them, you gotta thug it out. That's what it is. You gotta thug it out, and you gotta just trust the process. But it takes discipline. You need that discipline to get through this. And just like I said, keep that maintenance, that routine maintenance you got is your discipline. That's all you need. And you want to neglect, you want to do as least as possible to your dreads, besides the maintenance. So yeah, stick to that. Believe in your dreads, love your dreads, and your dreads will love you back in return, and it will grow to blossom to something unique only to you, which we all want. Nobody's dreads will look like anybody else's, because your hair is yours, your crown is yours, and your journey that you go through with your dreads is only yours.